All right, before we come to that, let's tell you about this. In recent years, tariffs have shifted from being simple economic tools to powerful geopolitical weapons. The latest wave of U.S. tariffs, particularly those imposed by President Trump on key trading partners like Canada, Mexico, and China, has reignited debates on the long-term implications of protectionist trade policies. While supporters argue these measures protect domestic industries and jobs, critics warn of rising consumer costs, disrupted supply chains, and retaliatory economic warfare. For more on this, I am joined by Ade Adefeko, Vice President, Corporate and Government Relations. Okay, so that's LCC, I beg your pardon. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today.
Good morning, or good morning, viewers, or good afternoon from whichever side of the world you find yourself. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening.
Thank you. I sincerely apologize for that mix-up. Okay, so the Wall Street Journal calls Trump's recent tariff announcement the dumbest trade war in history, and the Toronto Sun calls it a stupid, pointless, dangerous trade war. And I've also seen it described as the weaponization of taxes. But let's come to you. What's your description, and what do you make of these descriptions so far?
Well, I will not descend into the gutter by calling in such names. I would say, well, the world's trade order has been disrupted, okay? Multilateralism is technically on the verge of being dead. So what we'll have in the world now will be what we'll call everyone engaging in bilaterals rather than multilateralism. So I hope that this will usher in a new dawn positively, but again, I don't think so. What America has decided to do is what Trump spoke to before the elections: make America great again. Any country that wants to make itself great again does so from its own position of strength. So as much as I see that as a hula baloo, everyone does what is in the best interest of their country. But again, you have to look at it. We live in a world where no man is an island. Every man is a piece of the continent. So your title for this is very, very apt: Tariffs, Geopolitics, and Global Trade Disruptions. Right now, everyone is still trying to recover from the Ukraine crisis on the one hand, and all the other pockets of gloom and doom that we have. But for me, I mean, the particular one that is really shocking is the one by America with respect to their neighbors, Canada. So the tariffs by the US on Canada is 25% tariffs on Canadian exports and 10% on Canadian energy. And of course, the Canadians themselves say they will be retaliating by what you call tit for tat, 25% of the 155 billion of American goods that come in. So it's a bit of a potpourri, a mishmash of politics, economics, or what you call political economy.
Interesting.
Again, there is a very powerful statement that has been made, and which has been referred to by Prime Minister Trudeau, is that JFK made that statement, and he said, "Geography has made us neighbors, history has made us friends, economics has made us partners, and necessity has made us allies." This is a very powerful statement, and I think that statement, echoed a long time ago, is a powerful reminder of the world that we live in. We do not live in a unipolar world. We live in a world of multilateralism. We have what we call the Global South on the one hand, we have the BRICS, we have the Minsk, and we all have the G20s and all kinds of alliances and partnerships. But at the end of the day, everyone protects his or her own country. Is it the right thing for America to do? Time will tell. We need to drill down to our continent, our country, and prepare for it.
Absolutely. Before we come down to our continent, I was just wondering, I mean, these countries are some of America's largest trade partners. You talked about Canada, look at Mexico, or even China. Now, what will this mean for their local economies? Is this really going to serve America?
Well, to a large extent, I don't think so. But again, people sometimes, you see, you cannot be crying more than the bereaved, okay? There's a tendency to always cry more than the bereaved. And there's a saying by the late Chief M.K. Abela, for your head to be shaved, you cannot shave my head in my absence. I must put it down, okay, for you to shave it. So America, President Trump had already alluded to this prior to coming to power. So everyone should have been prepared for it. And he's walking his talk. Would that augur well for America? Time will tell. But to a large extent, based on what we see in global trade, there will be disruptions, of course. Things the Americans will have to pay a bit more for, because like I said, no one is an island. Everyone depends on the other for X or Y. Okay, and that's something that I think we need to sit down and listen to. Time is the space between you and me. We'll look at it and see what happens. So, like the famous Irish writer Samuel Beckett said, everyone is waiting for Godot. So we're waiting for Godot.
All right, we'll keep waiting then. But do you think Trump's tariff strategy, can sort of accelerate shifts in global trade dynamics such that, it could probably strengthen China's influence in international markets? Is that what it's going to probably achieve unknowingly?
Well, again, these disruptions, like I said, is unprecedented in history to a large extent. Sometimes you will now probably sit down and ask yourself, what is the role of the World Trade Organization, WTO, headed by our own sister and compatriot, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala? So those are the things we have to look at, these shifts and realignments, and we have to ask ourselves, are we in for multilateralism? Are we in for bilateralism? What I see, and I think will happen, is that every country will now begin to engage, okay, in bilaterals based on country. So not on blocks anymore. So that is something that I see happening in the next weeks, months, and probably years. Look at the NAFTA, for example. It's made a mess of the whole NAFTA. The whole NAFTA thing had Mexico, Canada, and of course the US. But right now, America is on its own, doing its own thing and saying to the world, or to its two neighbors, that, you know what, every man for himself, God for us all. That's what it is. So it's a bit unfortunate, but again, I think that statement, that powerful statement by JFK, geography has made us neighbors, history has made us friends, economics has made us partners, necessity has made us allies. It's a poignant statement, and it's something that rings true. For us in Africa, for us in Nigeria, we need to look at these things in totality. The ACFTA, some have domesticated, a lot have ratified, some have not domesticated. So that's a bit of a problem. But again, we're looking at the way things are panning out, but no man is an island, every man is a piece of the continent. No one country has everything. So for me, what I see moving forward now is let countries go and engage on bilaterals. Nigeria should go and engage with, I'm just giving an example, Brazil, for example. Nigeria should go and engage with India, for example. Nigeria should go and engage with India. So all these BRICS, MINGS, and the likes, some might just become, an agglomeration of string bedfellows, everyone trying to protect their interests. But time will tell, and we'll wait and see what happens. But again, what we're speaking to right now with what has happened by America is multilateralism is dead.
Multilateralism is dead, so we should go to bilateralism. But of course, we also know BRICS, which you, of course, alluded to when you were talking about India, China, and all of that. Number one, I want to know if, this whole arrangement is going to serve the BRICS nations. Maybe it's going to help them deepen trade among themselves. And then number two, I want us to take these two together because we're pressed for time. Now, the weaponization of taxes is not just an abstract threat. I mean, it's a calculated strategy that has real-world consequences, particularly for developing nations like Nigeria. So I want you to look at this from the Nigerian perspective. So talk to us about, what BRICS offers and also about the potential impact of all this on Nigeria and how Nigeria can sort of proactively navigate the situation.
Well, what I would have expected Nigeria to have done was that this was long expected. We already knew that President Trump had already spoken to this, so we should have had a bit of a kind of not a committee, but had a few eggheads sit down, Ministry of Trade, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, organized private sector, and all that. Sit down and say, you know what, what's next? How do we should be more proactive than reactive? But again, it's better late than never. We always speak to the fact that you must always work with your comparative advantage. You can only be competitive where you have comparative advantage. We have comparative advantage in many things. So what we need to do is to ramp up a comparative advantage in finished products rather than raw materials. So, I don't want us to sit down and say because we have cassava and we're still importing starch. I don't want us to say, well, we have cocoa and we're still importing chocolates. But again, it depends on what you want, what you choose to do and what you choose not to do. So for us, we have a lot of things we're strong in. We're very strong in cocoa, we're strong in cashew, we're strong in sesame, and all those agrarian products. But we need to finish, have an industrialized or have what you call special processing zones where we can make this and make ourselves more competitive. So that's important for us. And I think if we do that, we should be better for it. We should look at all our trade agreements with countries or with regions or with blocks and say to ourselves, what is the need for us? So we have to always look at our own end of the stick and how it favors us and how positively it impacts us. Like I said, multilateralism is dead, bilateralism has come on, but everybody is still talking about, global trade. Global trade will not stop, but global trade has been disrupted. So what has happened right now is unfortunate, but again, we can always press the reset button at any point in time.
All right, when I remember some of the things that the WTO said, that's talking about Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala during the World Economic Forum, she was saying we should not hyperventilate, and then she was saying we should not retaliate because that's going to probably cause what you would call two trade blocks. And some other things she said that even on that particular panel, people were saying that Trump would probably not go through with this threats, that he was just trying to negotiate and all of that. But apparently, maybe a lot of persons were wrong and didn't expect all of this to happen. We'll keep watching, just like you said, and I mean, with time, everything is going to unfold, basically. Thank you so much for your time on the show today.
I very much agree with you. Time will tell. Let's keep hope alive. Let's wait. And hopefully, like Samuel Beckett said, waiting for Godot. We're waiting for Godot. Godot will come, sure.
All right, Godot never comes anyway. Thank you so much, Ade Adefeko, Chairman, Industrial Sector, Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Thanks once again for your time on the show.
Thank you for having me.